So we are dot at 4 now.
Yeah, we'll start.
I'm just waiting for a panelist to be in. I'm not sure whether she is still joined.
ठीक है, फिर छोड़ दे, मुझे फिर होस्ट करना पड़ा। ठीक है। क्या?
Namita, are you on the call already?
चलो।
Namita, are you on the call? Not yet.
Hello. Yes. No, sir. No. I'm resending you the link, sir. Just a minute. I'm resending you the link. It can't be. Yeah, please. Okay, fine, okay. Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to all the eminent panelists and all the participants here today. The CII webinar series with Arogya World today focuses on emerging employee well-being trends in the reboot era. Before I introduce all the panelists, I would like to request the participants to kindly put their mics on mute mode. And also, if there are any questions by you all, you can put it in the chat box, which shall be addressed once we are done with the session. I would also like to thank our webinar partner, Anupam Rasayan India Limited, and also other partners, institutional partners and association partners here today. I would like to introduce our panelists for the session. To start with, we have Dr. Guruprasad, who is an award-winning occupational health specialist and has requisite skill and experience of working in leading a team in the field of occupational health and wellness in an organization. He has over 16 rich years of experience in occupational health, wellness initiatives, and healthcare. Then we have with us Dr. Naresh Tyagi, who is Chief Sustainability Officer. He's a seasoned and dynamic senior leader with extensive experience in apparel, textile, and retail industry. He has a robust experience in heading business units which are focused on innovation and strategic initiatives in the field of new product development, research R&D, environment and sustainability, as well as vendor management and quality assurance with consistently enhancing the technical powers. Our other speaker for today is Ms. Namita Venkatraman, who is General Manager HR and is associated with Robert Bosch Engineering and Business Solutions Private Limited in Bangalore. She is responsible for the key topics like compensation and benefits, employee development processes, policy governance compliance, operations and human resource management. We have with us for this session for moderating Mr. Sumeet Sharma, who is a corporate real estate services professional with more than 20 years of work experience with intelligent technology, that's IT, financial services sector, and the Indian Army. I would request Sumeet to now take it over from here, please. Sumeet.
Thank you very much, Deepa. Thank you for the nice introduction. No better time to have this discussion on this excellent topic. And as we have got into the session, I'm just seeing the blip of the number of attendees going up and up. We already reached almost 60, and I'm sure within the next 10 minutes, rest of the participants will be there. So all those people who registered in to join in here, thank you very much. You heard the instructions, so please do post your questions as they come into the chat box. We have a very eminent panel with us. They have already been introduced, but what we are going to now focus on is the major transformation which is coming our way because of this COVID-19 situation, which has gripped the whole world. Earlier, it was thought when it started that it's a local problem and it will be dealt locally, but then the rate at which it took over Europe, Americas, and the rest of the world, including India, which is yet to see its peak. It's been a big learning for us and has been a major wake-up call as well for a lot of businesses, and is going to define the new models which we are going to call as the reboot era. So in the reboot era, there are very interesting models which are developing. There are very interesting social interactions at a workplace which are getting redefined. The workplace by itself is getting redefined to a great extent. And the role of technology in being able to deliver our work without interruptions in future is coming to the fore in a big time. While everything is becoming at a comfortable social distance, the need of social interactions is also increasing. With this backdrop, there is also a lot of fear in the minds of a lot of people who are in business. There's a fear of loss and reappropriation of jobs. There's a fear of what will be the new business models. There is a fear of cash containment within the business. And there's an absolute need of making sure that cash is secured in today's business and generated more and more. With this backdrop in mind, health and safety has also come to a big fore. And all this is transforming our workplace like never before, irrespective of the sector we are operating in. Some sectors have been hit very hard, which had a lower adaptation or a capability of technology to be adapted, while some which had a kind of a hybrid culture of working from anywhere else using technology and so on, so forth, or had a capability, were able to recover faster than the others. But while all this is happening, everybody is still busy trying to figure out the protocols for the new reboot era. So all of you who are participating in this panel today have the advantage of vast experience of industry experts. So I would like to start with my question to Dr. Naresh. And my question to Dr. Naresh would be, how are you seeing the focus on transformation of workplace, and what does it mean to you personally as well as to the organization you are dealing with? Over to you, Dr. Naresh.
Sure. Thanks, Sumeet. It's a pleasure to be part of this panel. I think one thing is very clear that big organization keep talking about change management. And one virus actually has done so much fast for this change management, what lot of management guru are not able to do. What are the things and opportunity we see in transforming the workplace? I will just simply give few examples how we have taken this lockdown period and maybe 1 week before the lockdown. The lockdown was started in March 24th, if I'm right. And before that, there was kind of a virus spread across other part of the globe, not much in India. But we start looking at how that work from home, even that much before that lockdown was announced. We pilot in week of 14th March. Is it really possible to have work from home? For knowledge of everyone, I think I would like to tell that industry which I represent and I come from, it's retail industry. And in retail industry, you mostly have that retail store presence where everyday consumer come, and then you have that back end where manufacturing happen every day. it's unthinkable for retail sector to have something work from home. And in this, I think we first transform before that government announced lockdown, how that work from home is possible. And today we feel that it's not only possible, but it's quite beneficiary for the organization and individual. In the whole that 2 months, I think safety first as a concept has emerged very, very big. Even professional in that safety field find it always difficult to explain what is PP. And now, believe me, every individual, every citizen know what is PP. And in that translating that or transforming that workplace into opportunity, when lockdown was announced, we thought we need to do something, and we started within a week to liaise with government of India and make face mask and medical health care like coverall and other things. So I'm very happy to say that I think perhaps in Asia we were the first retail company to show that flexibility and adaptability to make the PP. We committed to government that 10 lakhs face mask we will provide, 2 lakhs coverall we will provide, and we were able to make change and make shift in our manufacturing within a week. Even if that time that the government norms was very, very stringent in terms of compliance to make PPE, particularly for medical purpose. Today I take that pride to say that not only we supply or deliver that what was required for the government, but we have even taken that opportunity for the commercial face mask production. We have supplied till date 4 million commercial masks, and in the even that proximity where our factory and community operate, we have used a lot of self-help group to give them employment and keep them earning money during this period. I would say, though it is a lot of challenge, but how we take this challenge and bring flexibility and adaptability to adopt with that requirement, whether it is moving from conventional garment making to PPE or from traditional way of operation, which is being physically present to work from home. And then other thing is that even today, that virtual meeting has become norms for us. Even I would like to say that even our board meeting, which is scheduled next week, will be also held virtually. So I think that a lot of challenge, but we are able to transform our workplace and practice as an opportunity in this pandemic period.
Thank you. Thank you, Naresh. Excellent. I think it fills us a lot of pride when we understand that the companies which got the opportunity to react to it faster than others within the whole of Asia Pacific come from India, and it's a matter of pride for all of us. And it's actually great the way this even the government in India has handled this pandemic and response to the pandemic, because there was so much of uncertainty. There were no templates which were going to work. Decisions were being made by the hour, if not by the days, and everybody was learning as they were going ahead. But the proactiveness of organizations, governments, and companies is what mattered the most in such a situation. So I'll take one step back and go back to Guru again. Guru, how do you see the transformation which is happening in the industry because of this crisis? So do you also think that this crisis has put a booster to the transformation which was otherwise so slow in the past within the industry? And would you also want to kind of specifically address these aspects within the industry which you have been working? Drew, over to you.
Thank you, Sumeet. So let me start with the presentation, where I almost cover all the topics. Let me know when you see my screen. You see my screen?
Yes, it's clearly visible, but if you make the screen big in a presentation mode, it will be helpful.
Sure, I'll do that.
Great. It's big and nice now.
Okay. So I'm Dr. Guruprasad. I'm the country head for Occupational and Medical Services for ABB. So I'll just go through. Okay. So in the context, I'll be speaking about pre-lockdown, lockdown, towards the end of lockdown, opening, and after a few weeks. So in pre-lockdown, it will be pretty much same for all the industries. Of course, March first week, the COVID was much discussed in India, and every company started early temperature scanning. And because you have temperature scanning, definitely you have to do guidelines for that. Of course, every company was doing it, preparing the guidelines on how to hold the thermometer, how close it should be, and who will be doing it at what time. All these things were being put in the guidelines. And all the international passengers, we quarantined international passengers much early than what the government decided, because our people started coming by probably March second week or first week itself. So we gave an option for all our employees to quarantine in a hotel. If at all they can't quarantine in the house, this is the time when government is not quarantining for international passengers. So it was proactive from us. Then we developed an app to monitor these people, and we had EAP services, that is employee assistance services for all these people to address their psychological issues. And we had a lot of resilience sessions. We had sessions on breathing, relaxation, and meditation. And one-to-one communication was done with all these quarantine employees on daily basis. Every effort was made to give the right information to the employees. So this is very important, because we have to keep their anxiety levels at the optimal level, not too low, not too high. This was done. And work from home, of course, when the government announced, we also did it. During the lockdown phase, of course, this phase, everybody were, behind the information. Information were slowly started coming from the government, and after a few days, the information channels opened up, and we had more information from the government, and also we had information from WHO and through the press conferences, and that was a very good way of getting it. WHO, CDC also put it in the websites. So we started getting a lot of information, and we started understanding COVID better. So, and we were able to give regular updates to the employees. And we started making flow charts for handling COVID for India and also all the states. Of course, people were stranded with us, and not only in India, but across also people were stranded. And we had EAP and resilience sessions done, and one-to-one discussions was done. A regular group call with all the stranded employees were also, by management was done. Almost every day basis, we were talking to all these quarantine employees, stranded employees, to understand their health status. And almost every day we used to keep in touch with them. And towards the end of lockdown, this was where all the companies were busy with the reopening procedures, and it was a good discussion with all the doctors. Actually, they were sharing their document, we were sharing their documents. It was a mutual helping business, and everybody had the reopening procedures suitable for their company. And we continued our stress management sessions virtually, and a flowchart of COVID handling, and also list of hospitals. Almost every corporate was making it, and regular call with factories and offices and projects. So this is very important for us, because we made a reopening document almost a week prior to the opening. But again, we had to make calls with this all of our factories and offices and projects across India to make sure they understand what is there in the guidelines and implement every letter and spirit of it. So that was very important for us. Okay, now coming to the current scenario, what does corporate doctors? I also term this as a crisis team. What roles we have? Crucial roles. Interpretation of government guidelines and orders and circulars, and include those in the parent document. This is very, very important. Ensure the document is understood by stakeholders. Before that, we have to understand properly what does the document mean, and again put that in our parent document and make sure that all the stakeholders, like all the factory managers, all the office heads, HRs, admins, health, safety, environment people across the company, across India, they understand this guideline properly and conduct training sessions on this document. We did training sessions to tell them what actually it means and how to implement. And then check on the implementation of the document in letter and spirit. This is very, very important. Once the document is there, it will be in the paper. Unless implemented, it is of no use. We have to ensure that it is implemented 100%. So we had calls with all these people, stakeholders, every day to make sure they understand the document and they know how to implement it. And then we have to issue appropriate guidelines. For example, how to use a thermometer, everybody will issue, but again, we have a lot of issues with the IR thermometers. Of course, every company has issues with the IR thermometers. And ensure the right PPEs are used, and we have to issue the guidelines on use and disposal. That is where we came up with this instrument verification. Of course, we use IR thermometers, but are they working properly? Are they, what we call it is verified? Is the readings on IR thermometer proper? So how do we do that? So what we came up with was have Axilla, this digital thermometer, like only the guard the paramedic or who is taking the temperature will just stand in the sand at the place where he is measuring to accommodate for the ambient temperature, and then get his axilla temperature, and after that note the temperature, then do his forehead with IR gun, then add the difference to the IR thermometer. This is done because to accommodate the ambient temperature readings also, because ambient temperature, the surface temperature varies a lot with ambient temperature, because we had this issue with the Rajasthan projects and Gujarat projects. We had a lot of issue, so we had to make the necessary changes, and also issue like how to handle these thermometers. Then wearing a mask, of course, everybody would have made a mask, PPT on wearing a mask. But the most important thing is which side is top, which side is down, which is outside, which is inside. All these documents we have to make for the employees to wear it. And of course, these are all the government guidelines and how to wash a mask and all those things, because we issued cloth mask, 2 masks for 15 days, for a month. So these are the basic guidelines that everybody has to make. Now, the mental health of employees of paramount importance. Of course, EAP services, that is Employee Assistance Program, where the employee calls for a psychological assistance. We have tied up with a vendor, and we did resilience training. We also do breathing relaxation and meditation sessions for all our employees. And also sometimes, only these things will not work. Employees, if they have a psychiatric issues, definitely they need some medications. So then we have to do some referrals. And all these sessions, whatever we do for mental health, definitely we have to involve the family as well. Now, these are the simple techniques what we teach. This is up-down breathing, because when you inhale air, your abdomen should come forward. When you breathe out, abdomen should go back. This is the right way of breathing, and we teach employees to do this very often. And we teach them what is chest breathing, what is up-down breathing, and experience, they should experience the right way of breathing. So this is what we do. And coming to the present scenario where the masks are used, of course, we are getting a lot of complaints from employees because they are not used to wearing masks. So they are, we are getting complaints like, they are not able to breathe properly and all those things. So then we told them, please do the right way of breathing. Whatever, little oxygen, little air you're getting, get to the maximum to the body. So the right way of breathing is very important. And also we are conducting a study a pulse oximeter study on whether really if wearing the mask will lower the oxygen levels in the body, because we know that it will not. But still we are making a study. And we have also advised, probably we're going to advise, we have not advised it, mask lowering breaks, probably. We don't know, because we should not violate any guidelines. Probably if the employee is wearing, is feeling like is less of energy because he's not able to breathe properly wearing a mask, probably can go to a place where nobody is there and nobody around. Then he can lower the mask till the nose and do up-down breathing for 5 minutes. And we are doing a study on that. Probably we assume that the SpO2 will increase because of this mask lowering break, but still it should abide to the guidelines, government guidelines. And we also teach people, our employees, to do some relaxation, quick relaxation. We teach them simple relaxations and also meditations. Meditations, so far we have trained around 7,000 employees across India on all these techniques. We do simple meditations where they have to just follow 4 rules of meditation and sit for 50 minutes a day. That's what we tell our employees. And one thing is connect to one-to-one with employees. This is very, very important, connecting to employees. We can see here what Satya Nadella, Microsoft CEO, says. What I miss is when you walk into a physical meeting, you're talking to the person that is next to you. You're able to connect with them for 2 minutes before and after that. This is very important. You can have virtual meetings, but it can never beat a physical meeting where you have a human connection. So the magic of human connection is great. So of course, we cannot have the magic of human connection now. At least we can have one-to-one connection over the phone. That is, for example, for coming days, June, July, we don't know the number of cases. So probably for the quarantine or isolation employees, we can have a daily call with them, or also have an app to track the health status, and we can do resilience training, that is stress management sessions to them. And also for the standard employees, maybe some employees are standard in other states, they're not able to commit. We had employees standard in western part of the world, eastern part of the world, so we are in the process of getting them. Or the employee has got a family loss, where we had we'll offer some support to them. Distressed employee, connect to the right resource. So human connection is very, very important. You can see this is caring created resilience. Caring is what whenever somebody is in trouble, they should ask for help. And if somebody is in trouble, you go and help. So this kind of caring, we can see that now there is increase in oxytocin level and the people feel better. So the human connection is very, very important at this time. So if somebody is in trouble, please ask for help. If somebody is in trouble, you go and help. So it benefits both the employees with the release of oxytocin. Of course, a study was made like. 2 questions were asked for 1,000 people, like how much stress and how much time is spent in helping people in the community. You can see only stress and no helping community, they had 30% more deaths. Whereas similar stress and people who were helping community, there were no stress-related deaths. So caring created resilience. So human connection is very, very important. That's what we have to focus at this crisis time. And restarting the well-being programs. Of course, we had a lot of well-being programs like smoking cessation program, where we had where we counseled the employee. We were trained by Bangalore St. John's Psychiatric Department, all our doctors in ABB, and how to counsel and how to issue this smoking cessation drugs. All these drugs we are trained to give. So we also run a program in ABB. So now, as far as possible, we'll try to run virtual programs. Even the BMR program, Basic Metabolic Rate program, which covers diet, exercise, and mind techniques, even these programs we want to run virtual now. And of course, earlier we used to call employees to measure their BP, sugar, and come to a medical center and do it. Now it will be virtual. They'll be measuring, and probably they'll be sending a message to you that what is their height, what is their weight changes, what are their BP changes, and what are their sugar changes. So everything can be done virtually. In awareness sessions, of course, like sessions like this, we can have with the employees. And regular communication to employees, this is very important, because we have to give the right information to the employees. Okay, right information is very much needed. That's what we stress during our people who are in quarantine also. We told them, don't watch TV too much. Whatever information is there, we'll share you. We had a WhatsApp group. We used to share all the information to them so that they do not keep on seeing the TV all the time. And we had a global challenge where we used to give a tracker device so that employee can walk 10,000 steps a day. And even without a tracker device, employee can still walk 10,000 steps a day and keep your health well, because walking not only increases the physical health, but also betters the mental health. And all these programs, we have to include the family in the programs. Earlier, we used to conduct the programs inside the company in the working hours. Now, I think it should change. We have to do in the evening time or in the holidays, where even the family members can join the program. Now, what is our role in business continuity? I'll just give an example how to interpret a government guidelines. For example, this guideline, what we had is May 18th guideline. So, for example, in point 6, if you see, if they say if there are 1 or 2 cases reported, the disinfection procedure will be limited to places, areas visited by the patient in past 48 hours. There is no need to close the entire office, building, or halt work in other areas of the office, and can be resumed after disinfection as per laid down in protocol. Okay, and in high-risk people, what they say, anyone in close proximity within 1 meter of the confirmed case without precautions. So, if the government gives guidelines like this, how do we interpret for our benefit? So if you see, interpretation can be done like this, and the changes. If the distance maintained less than 2 meters, then wearing a face shield in addition to face mask is mandatory. So that covers the second point here. That is, we are preventing a person from becoming high-risk contact. And the second one here is, no unnecessary, unauthorized movement of people inside the premises. Other than work is, that is strictly prohibited. And employees on the way to washroom or canteen should avoid passing through the business critical areas, even if the detour is longer road. So that what we are doing is we are not allowing the employee just to walk around the campus wherever he wants. Okay, because if he has passed through a business critical area, tomorrow if he becomes positive, then the entire area will be shut down for 24 hours. So try to prevent all those things. This is the right way of interpreting the government guidelines and implementing in the company. And how to interpret, that is very, very important now, because government guidelines come with a lot of misunderstandings sometimes. So you have to have a team. So always read the document along with the team. There should be a legal expert, there should be a doctor, security expert, safety expert, and also production representatives and supply chain management or the procurement teams. All should be there in the team for reading the document, so that everybody will read the document and interpret in their ways, so that the right words or right sentences go into the parent document of the company. Now, why you want procurement to be in the team? Because they should know the urgency of procuring items. If we say face shields, they may not know. They may take 1 or 2 months to procure it. No, they should know the urgency based on the document. So procurement team should always be there in the document reading team. This is very, very important. And this can be the core team. And one more important thing we have to see is how to update all the COVID data to employer management on a daily basis. What all we should consider? Should be very positive. Start in a positive tone, okay, and give them some confidence. How do we do confidence? Start with the statistics on recovery rates. Tell that as of today, the recovery rate is 41%. Rather than, don't say that we have 6,000 cases and deaths and all those things. Start with the recovery rate so that it gives some confidence to them, and give hope. How do we give hope? Talk about the trials going on across the globe. For example, Remdesivir trials or Moderna trials or Oxford trials. Give them some hope and compare some data. How do we compare? See, this is a slide of the government of India in the recent press conference. What they've done is 15 countries they have put together. The total population is 142 crores, and they compared India 137 crores. So as per this, the total case they have got 36 lakhs, but India is only 1 lakh, and deaths they have is 2.73 lakhs, but India is 3,000. So it gives somewhat some hope or confidence for these people whom you're giving the statistics. Even if you see the case per lakh, India has got 7.9. So these kind of data definitely will instill confidence. Why we have to instill the confidence? Why you have to give the data in a positive way for employees and the management is? This is a slide. I think in the recent WhatsApp there was a story, where 2 lambs were put in a cage, and one lamb was seeing the wolf all the time. The other lamb was not seeing it because they had covered. So if you see after a few days, the lamb which was seeing the wolf died much earlier. So what does it mean? The lamb, when it sees the wolf for the first time, all these acute reactions of stress happens. Increased BP, rapid shallow breath, then muscular tonicity increases, and the clotting factors also increase. Suppose the same lamb keeps on seeing the wolf for a long time, then what happens? All the chronic things happens, and it is very bad for the health. So this is the reason, to reduce stress, the way we present the data is very important. It's not that we have to give false all those. We'll give the positive data, good data, but in a positive way for employees and the management. That we should always make them feel good. That is what I feel. So thank you, Sumeet.
Excellent. That was very detailed, and for a moment I thought that we can go home at the end of it. But thanks for making it really short, because I'm sure it's prompted a lot of questions in the mind of the participants. So one quick thing for our facilitators from CII, Deepa, if you are hearing me, can you just help us unmute Namita? Namita is in the call, but she's not able to join as a panelist. She's joined as a participant. If you can just do a
Yes,
search.
please. Of course, we'll do that.
And once it is done, just confirm it back to me. So without holding any more, I think a good message which came out about how to present the data, how to make sure that the confidence of folks is built up in such a situation, because most of the time people in a confinement environment world over get into a depression. And when people get into a depression, they have all kinds of anxieties, including the anxiety of whether the job or the business is going to be safe or not. So in such a situation, the role of social connect or the human connect comes to fore, in addition to health, safety, and all the change management which we are doing. So in such a situation, what happens is HR, which we would always feel that HR is sitting in a high tower, always not available most of the time to the employees, because that's a typical labor thought process. And over a period of time, we have seen that this thought process evolves as the organizations become large and the human connect goes away. So I think we have Namita. Namita was introduced earlier. So Namita, I would like to bring this question to you. While the workplace is transforming, we are also seeing the role of the human connect is transforming, and human connect within our organizations and in our society normally is led by the human resource professionals. So Namita, how are you seeing this whole thing transforming, and how do you see the new role of HR evolving in such a situation? Namita, you may, yeah. Namita, can you just give a check? Yeah, you were unmuted for a moment, but yeah, can you give a check now?
I'm muted again.
Yeah, we heard you for a moment. We heard you for a moment. If you just.
I don't know. Can you hear me now?
Namita, you are loud and clear. Please carry on.
Yeah.
Don't touch any button. Just keep speaking.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, actually, just to give the context of what happened to Human Connect is a few days before the COVID lockdown, we had a management meeting and everybody was talking about, what happens and how we will not be able to work and how is the project going to be delivered, what will happen to the customer. And the huge uncertainty, because not everybody had a laptop which could just work from home or anywhere. We had hardware requirements, we had system requirements, we had lab instrument requirements, and then came a big effort, okay? And the surprising thing is 96 to 97% of our people of 22,000 employees could work offline and not impact a single customer delivery. So what is the big change which I see is two things. Number one, sometimes it takes a diversity, it takes a challenge to bring out the best in us, number one. Number two, sometimes the results are surprising because in a normal situation, had COVID not happened, and somebody would have said that, okay, 99% of you work from your home and deliver to the customer, perhaps our business colleagues and friends would have said it's difficult to do it. Okay. So what's the HR angle I see? The HR angle I see is it opens huge employment opportunities. Earlier, many of the people would hesitate to employ somebody who could not be physically present in the office all the time. What is the interaction aspect I see? While face-to-face interaction is the best, if you know that science also indicates that 90% or I think it is 70 to 80% of the communication is not through what you speak, but through seeing the person, their body language or their voice tone, etc. While that old truth is definitely true, but it's also true that business transactions can happen without too much of a face-to-face requirement, which means human interaction, which earlier HR colleagues believed is only possible when we come together, we have events together, we have fun together, we have a celebration together, are now thinking out of the box and coming to a conclusion that human interaction is also possible through the wires, through the screens. And it's possible to engage and be emotionally, personally connected to people without this need of only seeing them. And the last point I would like to say is culture matters a lot. Culturally, Indians are very used to, as a country, that we need to see a person, quote unquote, and understand his context. It's a new paradigm shift that we may need to work with people on the basis of the transaction they bring forward. Yeah, and not just understanding them completely and their back or whatever. So for me, a land of opportunities opens up in terms of who can be brought on board just for their skill, just for the time they can contribute without really a blockage of 9 to 5 or 9 to 6. And on the second hand, on the second aspect, it's a big thing that the dimension of human interaction can definitely be happening also through a medium which has not been the most favored medium. Yeah, that's it from my side.
I think, thank you very much, Namita. I know despite of the technology glitches, we could hear your oration so nicely, and it was so well said. I think a lot of good insights which you were able to share with the group. And just for letting everybody know, as by this time, we have a participation of over 85 members who are participating in this seminar. So as you have your questions, please make sure that you put them in the chat box, and we will pick it up with the panelists. You know the panelists. You can direct your questions to the panelists or generally put the questions there, and I will help you guys, being your voice, to take those questions to the panelists. So Namita, thank you for bringing up this aspect. I'll go back to a very important aspect now, which has come out after all the three panelists have spoken. An important aspect which has come up is the well-being of the human being in this whole crisis, which has seen a totally new dimension. Health safety, definitely, which was an undervalued subject in some of the industries which thought that health and safety was not so important. A new dimension of well-being has been added in now to this whole mix of new environment of working. So I would like to go back to Naresh, and Naresh, I would like to start this discussion with you. How do you see people at the workplace, in the factories, in businesses, are adapting to this new reality where wellness and the well-being of the human being is almost becoming a strategic and a strategically important dimension of delivering business? How do you see this change evolving, and any views you have around it, which could be relevant, agnostic of the industry?
Sure, Sumeet. Thanks for asking this. As you know, our business is little bit different and complex. For understanding of everyone, we are in retail, where our retail store, physically, we believe that in India, is still for garment and apparel retail, touch and feel is the most preferred selling proposition. We have 3,000 retail stores across India, and from big city or metro to a small town, we have 13 brand and retail stores scattered nationally. Same time, we have that manufacturing. And manufacturing, you know that traditional garment making is mostly that swing, where people, particularly ladies, they do the stitching on the assembly line. And then we have that office in Mumbai and Bangalore. So getting that, the one side, this pandemic has created immediate impact on business, where we have to kind of shut down all our retail store, 3,000 store, as well as office and factory, and 25,000 people in retail store, where every day their job is to sell or to facilitate shopping. How to keep them engaged was one of the challenge. Other was that in that lockdown period, how you address short-term challenges, but same time you keep your long-term goal and vision not to deviate from your business philosophy of a long-term goal, but more important is that business continuity. Because for us, business continuity is that retail. When you have that complete zero business and no business at retail, how you tweak your strategy and how you keep engaged your workforce. 45,000 people to engage and keep them not only happy and healthy, but not having any fear or any confusion about their job continuity. So I think we utilize this time to kind of reboot or re-strategize some of that short-term challenge. And in that, first of the theme, though we always focus on safety, but main theme we gave is that be safe, be smart. And that become kind of our philosophy of safety first. And in that be safe, be smart, we kind of made every individual and their extended family, and we clearly give that communication and mandate that take care of yourself and your family first. Safety is first. So all that people who, wherever we need to extend support in terms of making them safe and safer, that was the topmost priority immediately. After that, how to have that business continuity, how to have employee morale and engagement intact. We came up with that lot of things, which is important to integrate our short-term and long-term strategy into workplace, making it more happier and healthier. We started kind of well-structured program, and in that we say that for us most important is that your wellness and your well-being. So from safety, in week time, safety become well-being. And in well-being and wellness, we started a lot of activities. Just to give you example, we have something called Monday mindfulness. Means Monday, we encourage employee to have or to learn about practices on mindfulness, even some of the program on yoga, meditation. We tie up with a company, small company called CureFit, where we encourage employee to participate, and we created everyday challenge. Monday is challenge for yoga, Tuesday is challenge for how you harness your hobby. If cooking is your hobby, how you can be best cook and share your story of cooking or recipe. Tuesday is for your energy and exercise. Wednesday is dance. Like that, we created kind of series of program where we engage each and every employee for their wellness and well-being. As we find a lot of enthusiasm and participation, because our employee mix is very different. If I talk about employee mix, overall in company, 52% is women. And if I take manufacturing, almost 85% is women. And again, if I talk kind of demography, we have that people from across India, plus age group, we are perhaps a younger company, average age is 27. So how you keep engage all these people during this time? So one side we focus on wellness and well-being. other side, we say that, okay, every crisis is opportunity. So how to harness skill of every employee? And we have kind of our own university called Gyanodaya, and we started virtual university program. And in that virtual university program, we encourage everyone to participate and everyone to choose what program they want to uh, apply for or improve on. So we chosen soft skill, hard skill. We tied up with a lot of national and global university, including Harvard. We have lot of knowledge series and kind of program, which we even taken to that employee across all hierarchy. And some of the program which used to be earlier for selected people, like creative thinking or like design thinking or like data management or analytic or leadership quality or being uh, program for financial program for non-financial people, digital. So we have that series of training which was available through our virtual university. And I think in last 2 months we find maximum number of people where even some people have gone up to 200 training hours kind of thing. So we find that this may be best opportunity to extend all kind of training program across hierarchy, and they can choose. And we launch a program called MDP. You are MD for your own development. So MDP is a management development program, but we say that you are MD for your own program. So MD for individual program become MDP.
So I think, Naresh, what is coming out from this excellent points which you shared with everybody in your organization is the strategy is for including wellness into the organizational strategy is by involving the people into into evolving and developing this strategy themselves, which is going to benefit that. So I think there was very interesting points you brought out around uh, younger women, younger people in your workforce, especially women, which is predominant. So keep those thoughts with you. I will come back to you and Namita on question of women in workforce and how this can be leveraged and it's an advantage and how we need to make it better as employers and as businesses for them. But I'll quickly switch to Dr. Guru. Guru, what I realized in this whole conversation as we were developing our organizations are trying to develop well-being as an integral part of their strategy, the role of the occupational health practitioner or the physician has again, which had somewhat gone into the dormants, again come into focus because till now it was thought that those are the folks who provide services to only people who are sick. But this new opportunity has given a lease of life to them. So how do you see the role of the occupational health physician in the current scenario and the reboot era evolving? Where do you see it going and what is your advice to employers to make the best?
Yeah, Sumit, I like the word lease of life. Uh, but to be frank, always, big corporates always recognize the role of occupational physicians, and we were running a lot of programs. It's a lot of time. A lot of big corporates are running a lot of well-being and occupational programs throughout. And for example, if you see in this lockdown period, there was huge recruitments of doctors across India, big corporates and all these people just filling their whatever the vacant post available. So that's a good sign for all occupational doctors in India. Because companies have recognized the importance of doctors, because as I presented in my presentation, see the interpretation of the government guidelines is very important. whatever the line they write, it's difficult sometimes to interpret. So if a doctor is there in the team, it is easy to interpret. And also, for example, you want to send a communication to employees, what to send. So doctor can help you with the communication of, sending the communication to the employees. And in the COVID era, if you see, we need to have a good tie-up with all the hospitals, and we need to have a personal relationship with the hospitals. If you see in Bangalore, sometimes they don't accept cases, any cases. But if we speak and convince them, they definitely accept cases. It all happened with me as a personal experience. So the personal connect definitely helps. And going forward, definitely doctors have to do a major role in not only if you see in India. The health awareness and the health importance which is there in the past 2 months, we have never seen that. Even, probably we'll see that from next year budget, the major chunk will be health budget and improving the basic infrastructure, the public health, infrastructure will be improved, the system will be improved. So definitely health is going to be the next big thing apart from, the spend. For example, India spends more on military and all those things. Now it will be the health also will be on the equal share, because we have to see this health scares stop the country for 2 months. That is a big situation for any country. So health has to improve, and for companies as well, they have recognized that health as a major branch now. So definitely even the spend of the company on health will improve. Earlier, if you see that the spend was very less, but now definitely it will improve for all the corporates. Of course, all the corporates were doing health checkups. We are doing statutory health checkups, welfare health checkups, the programs we were running. Of course, if you see in our company, we did a global health challenge across the globe, where lakhs of this podometers were given to track their steps. Companies were doing, and now because of all these things, well-being has to come to the forefront, and definitely it's going to change.
These are this is a very encouraging words from you, and I'm quite sure there's a very good saying which says that in case the healthcare sector focuses on managing the health of the healthy people, we can always be better at managing the health of unhealthy people. So I think it's a wake-up call world over, not only for a country like India, which was actually spending very low per capita on the citizens' health, and it's also a wake-up call for developed countries where the spend on healthcare was very high when it comes to the country's budget. But then they need to reorganize their healthcare sector to really be able to respond to the need of the crisis which is arising. So this whole thing has definitely put the whole wellness and health industry into deep thinking. At the same time, a lot of opportunities coming their way. Thank you, Guru. So I move to Namita. Namita, my question to you is more from an HR perspective. Not that I know your views on other topics on strategy and management, but I want to go very specific because I see a huge role of human resource leaders like you and so many more in the industry have a great role in making sure that this opportunity is not lost by the corporates and the grassroots employers within the country, because it's easy to target the corporates, but then MCMEs and all the small companies and small businesses also need to look at the employee well-being in a much more serious manner. What role do you think HR leaders like you can play in the coming days to help transform within our lifetime the way employee well-being is integrated into work?
Okay. Sumeet, interesting question. Maybe I can share a couple of dimensions on that. See, basically earlier, the concept of health, well-being was considered as one pillar, one separate pillar, and then HR is another pillar, and then a business or whatever customer is another pillar. So what role HR can play is, it is a wonderful opportunity to fuse a couple of pillars. Yeah. So why I say this is because unless these pillars are fused, You will not see what I am feeling. The question you are asking is, how will it become seamless and integrated? So it will become seamless and integrated when these pillars which were earlier so separate are fused. And Sumit, you know that it is no mean task in any organization to achieve integration. We are all, many colleagues on this call will agree with me that saying is very easy, but actually achieving that integration where HR, well-being, wellness, and reaching even in these smaller, medium scale companies is speaking is fine, but doing is very difficult. So I say the role of HR can be critical in influencing two sides of the coin. So for me, there are two sides. Not only HR has to create a push, but also a pull. So for example, while HR can influence in creating the space and push for this topic on the top, it also can influence in creating the pull for this topic from the employees themselves. Because once there is a push and a pull, only then well-being and health can be so well, brought into the center stage. And as my other colleagues on the panel spoke, this is the time when at least the awareness, the sensitivity, the issues which it can bring on the table is already demonstrated to the people. So there's no need to build one more use case. Yeah, this one example is good enough. So HR definitely can play these two roles. And last but not the least is one more window of engaging with people. See, HR is always looking for what are the different ways in which I can make a difference to my employee. Okay? Whether it is in his career, so typically HR would talk about in my career, in his promotion, in his salary, in his role. But there's also a part which touches his life longer, bigger, more impactful is the life of his physical and mental well-being. Yeah. So HR can now also look at this avenue in an integrated approach and become the ambassadors of the health and safety teams, the medical teams, into reaching out to everybody. So that's what I personally feel, that if you make a difference to somebody's health or somebody's family, then you've actually won over an employee for a lifetime. And some of our companies, like IT companies, it is still a challenge. It is still not that an employee who comes with you will stay forever. Yeah. So I feel these are the clear opportunities and differences which HR can make in this era. Perhaps a little related point would be, how to say it. It is also that people need to be willing to do it and need to have that empathy to do it. So which will bring me to the point that the ability to empathize, the ability to understand and care for, which was earlier assumed to be an activity which a caregiver gives, of that. So you are not the caregiver, but you are somebody who can understand the need and provide that part of the solution also. So these are the ways in which HR will need to even build up their own capability, build up their own competency also to look at this aspect and make a difference. In the smaller units, I'd just like to say that, I heard my colleagues on the panel. So yes, you asked a very interesting point. See, bigger companies, yes, you are right, they are doing many things. What happens to the people, small, medium scale? I think this is like an alarm bell for the small and medium scale, that if they look only for short-term gains, then it's going to some point of time going to impact them, and they may have to consider these activities as important, as urgent, as required as any other activity which they consider for business. That's from my side, Sumit.
Very well concluded. While you covered the difficult part of the question towards the end, but you were so short and precise. I think the way the government is focusing through the whole, package for rebooting the economy is all focused around small and medium-scale industries and Make in India. And this crisis has given an opportunity for India to create world-class companies. And we cannot create world-class companies if we don't look at the most important element of what companies are made up of. They are made up of people. And if this focus is lost, as Namita said, it's very, very important for all entrepreneurs who are in the small and the medium scale business to make sure that the wellness is not left only to the corporates. It's also taken down there because the government is funding it, government is giving you loans, but then it becomes the responsibility of the entrepreneurs and the management of these smaller companies and small businesses to ensure that the workforce is also treated with well-being at mind while they deliver the best for the company. So this is a very important dimension which has come up for India. There's another very, very touchy dimension which also may be true for a country like India, where it was once said that if you want to be a superpower, you need to get at least 100% of your women workforce within your country into work. And to a great extent, a lot of labor laws were relaxed to ensure that this happens in the last 4 to 5 years. But then this crisis also opened our eyes to a new dimension where everybody was working from home, including your children at home. And the kind of workload which it created on younger women folk working from home, where the family is also at home, the husband is also at home, children are also at home, kind of additional work pressure it created on them was also a balance which a lot of us have been able to learn how to cope with it, but some of us still are not even considering that this is a real event which needs to be managed. So I'll go back probably to Naresh on this topic. Naresh, since you and your organization at a grassroots employs a lot of women across the strata of the society, how do you see the role of women in this new reality? Do you think it's an opportunity for them to come in and contribute equally into the workforce of the country at equal terms, or do you think there's a lot of work which needs to be done there?
Thanks, Sumit. Just to give perspective, this textile and retail, particularly apparel, MSME is the backbone of it. If you take a garmenting unit, and even with 50 machine to 5,000 machine is a kind of manufacturing setup. And in all these manufacturing unit, majority is women workforce. So these women come from that villages, and the way they earn, it's very, very useful for not only for their economic growth, but for personal development as well as social development. Because one woman support entire family, and in our case, mostly it is young women who kind of become independent when they are earning, and that independent gives them not only to pursue for their own growth, whether it is career growth, but many cases they want to do education. We have many cases where they want to, because most of these women are 8th pass or 10th pass, they want to go for higher education. So we encourage them and we promote educational support for them. Second, in particularly we have two extreme sides. One side we have manufacturing unit, and other side we have that retail. In retail also we have a lot of women, and these women are mostly our CCA, customer care associate in the retail store. We encourage them also through training development and other professional courses to move into career ladder. In many cases, they have become a store manager, they have come to head office for buying job, retail allocation job. So we see that a lot of progress in terms of their career. Other thing is that I think as a company, because women is almost overall company is 50 to 53%. We have a lot of policy which is woman friendly. When work from home started just 2-3 months back, but we have that policy for working women to work from home at least 3 to 4 days in a month. They can operate from home, and it's their choice. Anytime they can say, and there is online request where they can choose to work from home. We have extended it to entire, not only 3 days or 4 days, now to entire workforce, even post-work resumption. When we were making SOP based on government guideline, we have SOP for retail store, office, warehouse, and factories. We have kept in mind that we have more flexibility and more opportunity to give work from home facility to all working women. We have option of if someone is going on sabbatical or maternity leave, and they want to extend that leave, and after some time, many times they can't join immediately. We have that program called that it's called, I think, Blossom, where after 1 or 2 years, if they want, they can join back with the flexible project or with their choice of their work, what they want to work or which area they want to work. A lot of women-friendly policy we already have, but with this COVID-19 work resumption, we have extended all that work flexibility to even not necessarily even more than 50% or 40%, whatever they want to work, entire month or entire year they can work from home. And you might be knowing, and many people are aware, all our facility, we are Arogya certified. We take care of occupational health and safety. I think we are known for it. I don't want to touch more on that, where all that facility for CRES or to harness their hobby, whenever they want to come, they can go for education, they can come back, they can go for maternity, come back, they can take sabbatical, come back, and a lot of other financial support also we give for working women. So not only work health and practice, but even that within that factory, we have been practicing yoga. Every 3 hours, we do that for posture and other things, yoga practice for women to do it actually for last 5-6 years. We have added ragi malt in their nutrition because we know that in Karnataka, hemoglobin level is low in women. So we take a lot of medical and nutrition and diet balance with the work posture and other things, which we have been doing since long, but now it will be much more louder because we are now promoting almost even factory where you have seen that from one person to other, there is no distance. Now we have to maintain 3 meter distance. And we are going to have only that 25 to 30% workforce. So in that, more and more flexibility, working from home, alternated working, and all these things is coming into practice. In particularly keeping in mind, women need more time for work-life balance.
Excellent, Dr. Tyagi. I think that's quite a clear articulation of what you guys are doing, and it really ties back to the grassroots of real people in India. While there's a part of the population which is urban, but then if all these things reach the right places, then only we'll have an overall human workforce development in this country, which can take us to the next level. But I think I can see most of the participants from their names in this call seem to be men, and I'm quite sure that few women who are in this call are quite wondering what these men are trying to do to try and find a solution to a typically women's problem without involving a woman. So I don't want to be accused of that. So I think I will go to Namita on this question. Namita, you would have also seen and you would have also experienced from so many young women professionals in your organizations all around you, and you would have seen a big social change and a lot of realities which have come up not only at the grassroots levels but also among corporate employees. Would you want to give a message to all the people who are participating of how we can really achieve that balance right, not only as an organization but also as an individual, because this mindset of diversity and equality is very different, means very different things to different people. So would you want to kind of give your message of how you see this?
Sure, Sumeet, I can do that because my husband is not around, number one. Number two, also on the lighter side, I don't know why you say only young women, Sumeet. Even a little bit not so young women also find some difficulties when we are working from home. So I would just to say.
So I would like to go back to the statement. Men were trying to solve the problem of women without understanding the problems they have. So thank you for that intervention and clarification. So please carry on, Namita.
Yeah. Sumit, I think, okay, just to share a little bit, I think I have never worked from home in such a long time. And some of my colleagues in my team as well as in my friend circle also never worked home for such a long time. So the feedback which you get from them and from us is once again very actually, I did analyze it in my mind a little bit, and I come up with 2 or 3 key points. India is a place where our home is not a privacy or just a closed space. Yeah, our home is a place where we welcome friends, even though it is COVID, and I know that people don't go visiting. But our home is a place where there are a lot more ins and outs, yeah? And in this time, when the person who is normally not at home is at home, there are suddenly everybody has an extra expectation from them. And I must also say that it's not that men are not cooperative, Sumit. I think it's really heartening to note, I would say that most of them are quite understanding and cooperative, okay? But the interesting point I'll leave on the table is when there's a conflict between the lady's office requirement and the guy's office requirement, and the kid wants something, then at this time, in this triangle, it's clearly understood who is the person who has to care for the next person. Yeah, I mean, these triangles are not going to change in some time now. The message I want to say in this lockdown time, many of the colleagues came back and said, oh my God, we are waiting to come back to office. Yeah. And when you really ask them why, they say, no, we are able to participate. It's not that we are not contributing. But, I feel guilty also that I'm sitting on this laptop and not looking at my guy who's kind of down on the floor and wailing, or who's dropped something, and the expectation is I have to go dashing towards that incident. So I would say that maybe the appreciation for what a woman really does has perhaps gone up, and this would open the eyes for on both sides. Number one. Number two, I would also say that even the kids understand that it's not just those stereotyping, as you brought out diversity. So that stereotyping that only, a laptop or a video call or is only for the papa and not for the mama. Perhaps some of these stereotypings will also take a beating. Yeah. And last but not the least, I think the urban India, the modern India, the diverse India is here to stay. And everybody will get the message very clearly that if we want us to be a superpower, if we want the family to be a super family also, then everyone needs to come together and make the wheel go forward, which means everybody needs their space. I think, Sumit, for me, that space is really something which is a topic not really brought about and spoken. I also, even if I'm on office work or whatever, I need my space. I need my corner to do my discussions. Yeah. So this gave us the opportunity to reinforce that, and also on the lighter side, brought out, because there were no maids and no cooks. So on the lighter side, it brought out the equality. Everybody contributed. I think so many people came forward and said, we washed vessels, we shared, the household work. It's really wonderful. It's really wonderful to see that. And it's so important to understand that it's not just a 9-to-5 job or whatever. When you look at a woman, there is a job before, there is a job after, there is a job thereafter also. It's so difficult. I would say that flexibility is very important to allow the lady to do different things at different times. At the same time, sometimes women also need this space which they find when they travel to office and they are on their own. So a balance has to be found. Certainly, I'm not the person to tell what is the right or wrong thing, but I feel that these messages are very important, even in a family where there is more than just the nuclear family staying together. They got emphasized, and we as an organization, we have so many flexible plans for women, like my colleague was talking on the call. And we really appreciate those who are may not be able to put in the complete 8 hours or 7 hours or whatever, as long as they are able to do their job. And we look forward to continuing this relationship. Yeah, we look forward to this happening more and more.
Excellent, Namita. Namita, in the interest of time, I know this is a very interesting topic, and the way you articulated the pull and push mechanism for sustaining a better well-being at workplace, and then you brought in this analogy of we can't be a superpower if our families are not a super family. So I think these analogies are very well taken. There's an excellent question which has come from one of our audience. If you don't mind, I would like to name the audience. Ashwini Thaker, this is a question from him. And Guru, I would request you to take this question. The question is, while there are regulatory requirements pertaining to employee well-being for manufacturing locations, there is no specific regulatory requirement for office-based and field sales employees. In the post-COVID era, do you foresee any change in that space? Guru.
Yeah, so to answer this question, see, we have to have a differentiation of two things here. One is occupational and well-being. Even in factories, we have a mandatory for occupational things, not well-being things. Well-being things, so okay, they may tell orally that you have to do all those things, but there's no mandate in factory as well as per law, as per the Factories Act. So, but all the corporates, they don't differentiate between office and and in the corporate, but well-being programs are happening. For example, in our corporate, we do it. We do ergonomic study in the office. We do ergonomic study in a factory. We do the same programs what we do in a factory in office as well. But as such, because of the Act, Factories Act, I don't know, because only now I think they are re-amending it. I don't know how far they'll include the office also as a part of it. But as a good measure, a lot of corporates are not differentiating between any programs, especially except one. What we are not doing is probably hazards, this statutory health checkups. That is not happening in offices. Apart from that, all well-being programs, most of the corporates are doing. If they're not doing, please, I would suggest, please go on. There are simple programs to do, not major things. Simple. You can have a challenge of walking. A challenge of do ergonomic study or stretching exercises or yoga sessions we do in our corporate in Bangalore. Like a yoga teacher comes in a week, once in a week, and he does yoga in the office itself. They're not moving to any special room or something. Wherever they are, they do some stretching yogas. And with some of the offices we have where we display every 2 hours, the video starts and people start doing stretching exercises. So all these things, simple things can be done, could be done in office. I don't think it requires regulations for that.
Thank you, Guru. This was very well said. Naresh, do you want to add something? We still have 2 minutes.
Yeah.
As for your screen coming up.
Yeah, I will add to that because we have that lot of people in retail and so is in field. As Dr. Guruprasad mentioned, at corporate level, there is no segregation or no separate policy or guideline from ministry, whether it is applicable for field staff or office staff or factory staff. Policy is same across. But when we were looking for that work resumption, there are certain guidelines which is very, very specific for retail store, particularly for shopping. And when I talk about shopping, there are 3 types of format we have. One is that standalone, where we have our own store, and other is that mall, and third is department store. A lot of sales staff and team we have in that department store. We have that separate SOP for retail and sales team. And we have taken wherever possible guideline from Ministry of Home Affairs as well as other area. There are 1 or 2 specific things which is related to retail, like AC and HVAC. And then there are certain norms for that consumer safety. When customer and consumer is coming inside the shop, you need to take care of certain norms. Arogya apps need to be installed. There are so many 5 points which is related to that. For particularly sales staff, because they are the extended people for that franchisee and department store, same policy are applicable for them. Especially now, I mean, one of the things, insurance is applicable irrespective of whatever level, whatever field it is. So that medical insurance, even for that not on your employee but extended employee, it has become mandatory. So there are 5, 6 mandatory things which is related to across value chain, not only factory or office.
Thank you so much, Naresh, for that intervention. We have 2 minutes left. Would you, Namita, also want to add anything, or we have been able to respond to the question being asked?
Okay, are there no other questions?
No, this was the only question which came our way, and all the aspects were covered.
Okay.
Frontline staff in sales was covered. So if there's anything which you think is left in the response from rest of the panelists, please cover that up.
I would just like to add that lessons from this COVID should be taken up, and it should not become like it does in other, sometimes in other situations that, one COVID to another COVID. It should not be another COVID. It should be possible that we should try to learn the lessons and really integrate. I think that would be very important.
So that's actually a very strong concluding point from you, and that is why we should thank CII, which helped us come together to be able to put these views together. And I'm quite sure CII is helping industry across sectors to be able to do that. I would also like to make a good mention of Arogya World, who have been associated with some of the organizations and some of the panelists who are here. And also want to let you guys know that these guys are also doing a wonderful work to help you sustain this, as Namita said, as a way of our life and not just an event to another event. I would like to thank all my panelists. I would like to thank CII, Deepa, for putting everything together. Here we are at 5:30 dot. Back to you, Deepa. Anything else you would want to cover?
Thank you so much, Sumeet, for the wonderful and enriching session today. I'm thankful to all the other panelists for an insightfulness they have given, and I'm sure everybody has learned a lot from this session. Thank you to all the participants as well. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful day and be safe.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.